Hi everyone, this is Jenna from the Customer Success team at Funnel, and today we'll be covering deduplication. In this video, we'll be covering what is data duplication, why multiple report types can be needed, why we can combine different breakdown or report types, and lastly, how to create a deduplication dimension in Funnel. So starting off, what is data duplication? So let's say you want to analyze your Google Ads data at macro and micro levels. You want to look at the account's total KPIs, but you also want to drill down on specific ads performance. In this case, you need two different data sources from the same ad account with two different report levels, one for the standard report and the other for the ad level. When you use Funnel to work with these two data sets, you will see these reports in two rows. It's important to note that both represent data from the same ad account. In other words, they are different report types of the same underlying data. So KPIs like cost, clicks, and impressions will be counted twice, as this data is common to both rows. With this, you find that the numbers are inflated and don't match the data from the source. Over here on the bottom, you have an example of the same Facebook account connected on ad level with different breakdowns that would create data duplication. But why would you have two or more different report types or breakdowns in the first place? Great question. Sometimes you need to connect to the same source more than once in Funnel to access different report types or breakdowns that cannot be combined together. So, for example, you might want an age and gender breakdown, which cannot be combined with a country breakdown. But hang on a minute. Why can't we combine different breakdowns or report types in the same data source? Well, this is because each source, be it Google Ads or Facebook, has its own restrictions or limitations on what can be combined together in the same report. Some data sources don't allow Funnel to collect data using just any combination of dimensions. In addition, there may only be a certain number of predefined reports available in the API, or there may be limitations on how the dimensions may be combined. One example of this is Facebook ads, which allows looking at number by age or by region, but not by age and region in the same table. These restrictions exist within the source API or the platform itself, often for data privacy reasons. What this means in practice within Funnel is that you may be required to connect to the same source multiple times to get the data you need. In some cases, these restrictions can mean that data gets pulled at different levels of data granularity and therefore cannot be combined. Consider the device breakdown as an example. You may have mobile, desktop, and tablet as the device options. In this case, any metric that we look at, say CPC, for the device breakdown will be split into 3 rows because of the 3 device options that we have. So now I can go ahead and show you how to create a dimension within your Funnel subscription to deduplicate multiple sources. So I can go ahead and start off with connecting to similar sources. So we can go into connect data source and we can click on Facebook ads for this example. And click on the account that you would like and configure manually. And then for the first data source, we'll just pick the age and gender breakdown. And then we'll connect that data source. And we'll connect another similar one from the same account. And we'll configure it manually. And then we'll have a different breakdown. We'll choose platform for this example. But as you can see, the levels are similar and then the account is similar as well. So this would cause duplication. So we can connect that data source and then we can go into our data sources here. And while those data sources are downloading, we can go ahead and rename them. So for this example, we can rename it here. And since this is demo data, I'll say that this is the age and gender data source. So we can go ahead and name it age and gender so that we know. And then we can name this one platform. This would just be for the deduplication example, but if you would like to learn a little bit more about naming conventions, you can go ahead and check out our knowledge base article/video on data source naming conventions and what are the best practices around it. So now that the data is done downloading, I can jump into the Data Explorer and I can show you what it looks like for the data to be duplicated. So I pulled in the data source name, and then cost, and I pulled in amount spent since we're using Facebook as an example. So as you can see, you do get an error message from Funnel mentioning that this metric may be counted multiple times, and as you can see, it's amount spent. And here you can see you have the amount counted multiple times or being pulled in multiple times, which could lead to duplication of data. So what we would do is jump into the Dimensions tab, and we would create a dimension from scratch. And we can call it deduplication. And then we will go down to rules for all data and create a rule with condition. So we would say when the data source name contains ignore case, age, and gender, then we would set it to the value of age and gender. And then we would do the same for platform. And then we would create that dimension. Then we would jump into Data Explorer, reload, and we would pull in the deduplication dimension that we just created. We can pull that up. And now you can go ahead and filter this out as you would like. So if you would only like to see platforms cost, then you would only have that there. So then you can include this filter or this dimension in with your reports, so you always have that data filtered out and not duplicated. But that's it in regards to deduplication. If you have any further questions on how to work with deduplication and how to create the dimension based off data source name, please feel free to reach out to our support team at support@funnel.io or through our in-app chat. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.